Okay, everybody, today's activity is going to be a description of the first part of a investigation we're going to do into calculating the total population of a species. So I'd like you to think to yourself for a second, and this is a question I've asked before, but how do we calculate or how do we determine the total number of an animal living in an area? It's not usually that easy because there's often so many of them that we can't count all of them. So we have to use a little bit of math and a little bit of logic to figure it out. And there are two primary ways biologists calculate population, and one of them is to use the density um, to help figure out how many total animals there are. This is the same way that the state would figure out how many deer there are in Minnesota or wolves there are in Minnesota. All of this would be carried out using this method that I'm going to show you right now. Now we're going to do it with a plant in your area, and when you've opened this document, this is what you should see. The first thing I need you to do is go up here, it'll say copy of, and change that to your name. First and last, okay? And then you're going to go to share, and you're going to type my email address in there, burnsbrandon@apps.district279.org, and you're going to hit done. Okay? Once you have done that, you're ready to begin the first few steps. So you're watching this video. So now we are going to follow these steps, and we're actually only going to do the first two steps today. To find the range of the population, we would have to figure out where the animal lives or where the plant lives. Now, you've already done this. You've already established a range map for your plant. The next thing we need to do is calculate the area of the land that the wildlife is found on. Now, for now, you just need to follow along with how I'm doing this. But if you want the big picture view, what we're going to do is we're going to figure out how densely packed together are the animals, and how much space do they occupy in that densely packed state. And using those two numbers, we can figure out the density multiplied by the area. We can figure out the total number of individuals. So we got to figure out the area first. And there's a link here you're going to click and open. Now this page takes a little bit of getting used to play around with, but you're going to start by clicking load the map. Okay. And then your task is to zoom in on your field site. Okay. When you're scrolling on this map, if you're on the map itself, it's always going to scroll in and out on the map. So if you want to move the screen up or down, you've got to move your cursor outside of the map and scroll it up and down there. Okay. So I'm going to click and drag, and then pull myself in to find where we are here. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm zooming in on Minneapolis. Oh, I see Elm Creek Park. There's Osseo. And I'm going to zoom in on my field site. Okay, which is right over here. I'm going to go outside of the screen a little bit and scroll up. So I want to zoom in as close as I can get on my field site. And then I need to look at my range map. Zoom in a little bit more. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay, that's as zoomed in as I can get. Now, if you don't like this view, because it kind of shows it at a slight angle, over here on the right side, there's this little arrow that will flip your view of it. And actually, as I flip it, I like this view better. Hey, there's some people walking. Because I think it helps me see the area where that goldenrod was living a little more clearly. So I'm going to flip mine that way. You can flip yours to whatever orientation feels like it works best for you. And that's the angle that I like the best. Now, once I've got that, I'm going to draw some circles essentially on my map using points. You'll see my cursor is a little plus sign. If I put my cursor here and I tap it, it'll drop a point, and then if I drop another one, it'll draw a line in between them. If I drop another, and another, and another, I can use it to create the shape of an area. Okay, so now I've made a little pentagon there. Yeah, pentagon. And if I scroll down here, skip the add, and look in this area here where it says output current area. And I'm looking for this number right here, 8.39 meters squared. What that tells me is the area that I have outlined in green here, the area of that is 8.39. Whoops, I did not want to zoom out. Is 8.39 meters squared. Now let's say you make a mistake and you want to get rid of a shape you've drawn. I can clear all the points by clicking on this tab right here, and when I go back up, that area is clear. If I want to just clear one point, I can go down here and just delete the last point that I dropped. Okay? Now, the tricky thing for most of you is that the range of your population covers several different areas. So let me show you what I mean by that. The when we went out and looked at the goldenrod, there was goldenrod in an area, and I'm going to carefully trace the outside of where I think the goldenrod were. There was goldenrod there, and then I think there was goldenrod. Well, actually, I can't. It won't let me tap on it because there's too many points there. So that area I think was goldenrod, and then there was a little gap, and then there was more goldenrod up here. So what do I do in that case? Well, I have a couple choices. I can go down here and I can write down this number, 6.21 meters squared. So I might go back to my thing here, and I might put in 6.29 meters squared, and I'm going to add to it. Right? So I'm going to go back to my maps, and I'm going to clear all points, and I'm going to draw the next area on my map. Whoop. It did not clear all the points. I'm going to scroll back down here, clear all points, and there it did. And then there was another area of goldenrod that kind of went along here. Like that. And I can go down and see what the area of that one was. That is 11.13 meters squared, it tells me right here. Okay, so then I would go into my plus 11.3 meters squared, right? And I remember that we saw a few spots, when I look at my map of what I did out there, we saw a few spots. I'm going to clear all these points again. We saw, that was the main ones, but we saw a couple over here and a couple up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to essentially say, we'll call that 1 square meter and another 1 square meter up here, because it was essentially like 3 little spots, and a square meter is like a 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter square. And those areas weren't much bigger than that. So I'm going to go in then and add another 3 meters squared. Now, I don't want you to estimate all of your areas, right? So you should use the area calculating tool to actually trace out and get the exact area for most of your locations that you're graphing. And then you've got them all added up. And then I would do the math. And so 6.29 plus 11.3 plus 3.2. So what that's going to be 9, 20, so 20.59 meters squared. And that is the area of the places that goldenrod lives. That's all you need to do for the assignment for today, is get that number. Now, once you have that number, you're going to go into the discussion post and you're going to enter that number. Okay? The added together number. which is going to show the square meters of not your whole field site, but the places in your field site where your plant lives. If you have questions about that, please let me know. Thank you.